Ed, tell me if you see it.
I like that's how I open up. I don't know who Ed is, but I like Ed already. Thank you everyone for showing up to the
Oh,
final episode of the classroom on Hookah University for this season. Then I go on vacation, a much needed vacation to Florida. Today I am joined by two people, two lovely people from Heavenleaf, Mr. NAREK and Miss TORRIE. Now
what's going on, guys?
Now, really quickly, a lot of people have been talking about Heavenleaf, like recently. Like it's recently got a lot of traction. I think a lot of people have taken the product definitely more serious because I know there's a stigma when it comes to non-tobacco things, and they don't take it serious because we've had bad instances in the past with other types of non-tobacco products that just didn't hold a candle to tobacco products, something we all grew up on smoking. So really quick, we will get into that, but really quickly, I want to thank you guys for coming on. Can you tell the people a little bit about yourself? Let's start. We'll start in Eric, and then Tori will move over to you. So, Derek, what do you do with Heavenleaf?
What do I do with Heavenleaf? Well, I'm originally the founder of Heavenleaf. Heavenleaf was started off as an idea about 2 years ago, and well, the idea that's true actually. The official company launched 2 years ago, but the idea started way before that. So about 5 years ago, it's kind of an interesting story. I was always an enthusiast for hookah products, different brands of shisha. The brands that we used to smoke back in the days, I would say about 10 years ago or so, was Al Fakhr.
Uh huh.
So Al Fakhr and then Fumari was getting into the ball game. So we were starting to see this emergence of this peculiar device known as a hookah, which we had no idea what it was and everything. And so I was never a tobacco smoker. So, but when I got into hookahs, I was like, wow, is this tobacco? This is not how we see tobacco as being,
Yeah.
because we had always thought of tobacco as being cigarettes or cigars or pipe in that sense. And so it kind of became something very new, a very social aspect, where it wasn't simply about just smoking the tobacco in and of itself, but it was about gathering with friends, having fun,
Yeah.
getting together with family. And so what happened was I started smoking different flavors of hookah tobacco. And as the years progressed, I started to get more and more into the different flavors, the different mixes you could do. And it was very interesting when one day, I had already, this was sometime after my bachelor's program, when I graduated with my bachelor's here at Cal State Northridge.
Go Matador.
Yeah, go Matador, right? So so after I finished school, I was like, I was working in different fields. I was working mainly in the fashion industry. I was also managing a few insurance brokerages and everything else.
Jeez, it's
And
like you wear a lot of hats, don't you?
yeah, people have been asking me all the time. So it was kind of funny because one day I was smoking hookah and everything, and I believe I started getting into more of the stronger brands.
Mhm.
At the time, Tangiers started making an introduction and everything, and I like the flavors a lot. But me personally, I could not handle the intensity of the tobacco and the nicotine.
Yeah.
So, and that kind of rose a question in my mind. I said, you know, what if there was a way for people to enjoy hookah, but without necessarily having tobacco or nicotine in their bowl? And
Mhm.
could this be something a bit revolutionary in the marketplace?
Mhm.
And at the time, the funny thing was there were a couple of non-tobacco shisha brands out there,
Mhm.
but I never tried them. I never experienced any of their flavors or their smoking style. So I kind of went in blind, and I'm like, you know what? Let me experiment with a couple of different herbs, and let me see if I could create some sort of a wacky contraption that could be something that's not tobacco, but it will still smoke.
Yeah.
And so, over the span of about 3 years, I started experimenting with a lot of different plant materials, a lot of different mixtures, and it kind of went from there. And I'll be honest with you, with every sort of entrepreneurship you go into, your first batches are going to be horrible, and they were. So
Yeah.
trying things out. You're like, oh man, this tastes nasty, or like, oh, what the heck did I just do with this mixture? It makes no sense.
Or
But
it lasts like 30 minutes.
yeah, so
Kaputs.
but every single time it got better and better and better. And originally, what happened was I had actually started off with experimenting with making tobacco shisha just for fun for my friends and everything else. But I really wanted to dive into making a non-tobacco product because I knew there was some sort of a void in the marketplace whereby, if we hadn't really heard of other non-tobacco shisha brands, that means no one was really smoking them anyway. So I decided to see if I could have created maybe a type of product and a brand behind that product that can actually work, and it will smoke as close to tobacco shisha as possible, yet still not have any tobacco or nicotine for consumers who might want to just experience what the hookah experience is.
Yeah.
The social aspect of it, the brotherly, sisterly, family aspect of it, but without putting any tobacco or nicotine in their bodies. And so a little over 2 years ago, I would say our recipes were perfected up to that point.
Uh-huh.
And we launched the company back in July of 2015. And, as our lovely viewers on Hookah University will see that, the company's come a long way, and it's actually all thanks to the viewers and our fans who have actually, so they've actually tried out all our products, and they've been the greatest critics on our products. And they have been the ones who have allowed us to tailor the products back to them. So I think that's very important.
That's all pretty interesting. You said a couple things in there, about the dark leaf and nicotine, and I'll touch on that as soon as we hear a little bit from TORRIE and a little background from her. So now it's your turn. No pressure.
Yes, I'm the corporate secretary of Heaven Leaf. I also manage a lot of the content, so the website, the product descriptions, our puff promoter program. You'll hear from me mostly. Just really anything that needs to get done that he needs, I'm here.
So basically all the dirty work.
Actually, she's my right-hand woman in the business. So without her,
I mean, social media and dealing with a lot of different people is very, very difficult. So hats off to you and all that stuff you do.
I enjoy it though. I enjoy the personable aspect of that. Definitely, I think he does more of the manufacturing side, a lot of the numbers, and that's not my expertise.
Well, it's interesting because a lot of people are talking about it. Even people who are very divided on tobacco products and like pipes and hoses and all this other stuff, they can all still agree that Heaven Leaf is something new and something different that does fill that void. So it is doing its job. Really quick, when were you guys first introduced into hookah? Like you, NAREK, you said before that you kind of fell into it. TORRIE, what about you? Like what was your first experience when it came to hookah?
So funny enough, I don't know if you can tell by my massive shoulders, but I'm swimmer. So in college, it was my freshman year. We had a lot of European, Mediterranean, international students on our swim team. 4 of them were Turkish, so big on hookah. Oh, by the way, sorry guys, Eid Mubarak and Eid Bayramlar. Everyone who's Muslim, happy holiday.
Yes,
happy,
Ramadan, right?
Yep.
Yes.
This is the last day, so good going, guys. I know how rough that is. Sorry, back to this. So he was smoking this hookah, and I was, we're training for the Olympics and all that, and I did not want anything to do with smoking.
Yeah.
But 18, super impressionable, and he said, all the Olympians, they smoke hookah, like, it makes your lungs stronger. I'm like, you're full of crap. It's tobacco. But because I wanted to be cool, so I smoked it, and I was terrible.
Yeah.
Had no clouds whatsoever, and being an athlete, I wanted to get better at it.
Yeah.
So
it's
I smoked
like
more and more.
That competitive nature.
Yeah, so funny enough, falling into Heaven Leaf, it's the one product I can smoke and still work out the next day, and I don't feel hindered in the slightest. So I can still swim the next day. I'm not choking. I'm not gasping for air, so I can still maintain that good cardio workout and have nothing really holding me back.
And guys, by the way, just to tell you, in case if you see my finger like this, my middle finger's busted, so I'm not flipping you guys off.
Oh, you
I just
really
can't.
see the Band-Aid.
I know. Yeah, so I'm not flipping you guys off. My finger's busted, so I can't really curve it that well. So
That's
just,
good. I don't think I was noticing it, but now I'm gonna pay attention to the finger. Now he has my attention.
I know somebody's gonna say, "Why is NAREK flipping off the camera?" So
Subtleties.
Really quick, I want to thank everyone for dropping in. You have Mr. Derek Moses. He makes custom hoses for the people. You Caleb, Tony. You got the whole crew in here. Doug. You know, you got Tristan. Mr. Badir from Mr. Alpha Comma USA himself is in here watching, just lurking around. And Paul, tobaccoless shisha for the people. That sounds like a slogan. I think Derek might have an issue. I think this copyright infringement now because he's that's his thing. But really quick, I really enjoy the mint flavor. I think when I first tried it, I was like, holy crap, this is. I mean, I've tried stuff like Hydro, and I've tried various other non-tobacco brands, and for the lack of better words, they suck. They don't offer you the same smoking experience, and even when you go to different brands, it still should be giving you the same experience, maybe a different type of texture or a different throat hit or whatever it is. But most non-tobacco brands really are bad. So when I did try your mint from Heavenleaf, I was blown away because I'm a very big mint smoker. I like everything from, you know, Trifecta, the cane mint, to new tobacco, to Al-Fakir mint, everything. I've smoked all different types of mint. So when I tried yours, I was really blown away, and I was like, what are they doing to this? What is different? You know, why is it that they're doing non-tobacco so well and all these other companies are lacking? We're filling that void. Like, now, you said that you didn't try other non-tobaccos. Have you tried other non-tobaccos now? Are you more familiar with the texture and how they smoke compared to
you know
your
what
brand?
the question was? I kind of wanted to go into this experiment, if you will, more like a scientist, and I wanted to go in blind. The reason for that was I didn't want to have any sort of my experimentation being based on any other brand.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I've smoked tobacco shisha for quite some time before I created Heavenleaf, but I didn't necessarily want to try any other non-tobacco shishas because if they, you know, with all due respect, if they were any good, we would see them more often, especially here in Southern California, but we haven't. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to go in blind and see, okay, my goal is not to simply, you know, be a competitor for non-tobacco shisha. And as a matter of fact, Heavenleaf is not a competitor to anyone. We don't see any competition. We actually like to work with other brands, and we always like to complement other brands as well. And when I wanted to go in blind, I wanted to see, okay, how can I, without any basis whatsoever, I don't know any formulas, I don't know, you know, exactly what the ingredients are and all that stuff, can I create from scratch something that will work as a non-tobacco shisha yet replicate tobacco shisha as close as possible? And so throughout the years of experimentation, I tried different herbs, I tried different substances, and the closest resemblance that I ever had as far as a burning plant material was tea leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started perfecting, okay, you know, how do we mix the tea leaves? What do we do with it? Well, obviously, you know, there's glycerin involved, which gives most of the cloud production that our consumers enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the flavorings. And then beyond that, it was, you know, there's flavorings and glycerin. But from there, I had to also start perfecting a few other very cool things. One thing was, in our recipes, we don't use honey or molasses. We use something which I call sugar syrup.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had more of a fun hobbyistic background in chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always liked to experiment with different chemicals, different molecules, see what they could do. And I started experimenting with different sugar compounds to create a syrupy base that would actually have a heat retention that is about 100 to 200 degrees Fahrenheit more resistant to what I like to call, what they call it, charcoalization or caramelization. So whenever the shisha is burning instead of smoldering.
Yes.
So what would make the tea leaves actually stand to be more resistant another 100 to 200 degrees Fahrenheit more. And so I was able to perfect our sugar syrup recipe. And from there, we started going into the different flavorings, the different ratios of the flavoring to the tea leaves and vice versa. And over the years, the one thing is the recipe is never perfect. No sort of recipe, no brand can ever be perfect. There's no such thing as perfection because it is our consumers who dictate the perfection. We can only be as perfect as to meet the majority of the demands of our consumers. So our formulas are constantly changing. They're always evolving. You know, if consumers want more flavor, we start adjusting our formulas to have more flavor. If they want more cloud production, we give more cloud production. One of the things that we've tried to master on is, and I think it's critical, is the slight throatiness of our shisha in comparison to, let's say, if someone was to vape. So as everyone knows, whenever you vape, you only get the cloud production and flavor, but you don't get as much of the throatiness to it. So you're not really feeling as if you're smoking something.
What do you mean by throatiness? Is not like when it's burning or tickling in your throat. It's that you can taste the substance. Like there's something actually in your mouth, not just like inhaling and exhaling.
It's kind of the way where, let's say, whenever you're smoking Tangiers, you get that intense throat hit. You know, it's a very pleasing feeling, but at the same time, when you smoke Fumari, it's a very little throat hit in kind of that perspective. So we've been also able to incorporate in our ingredients a little bit of propylene glycol as well. And it's also disclosed on our packaging. Some people might be a little bit allergic to propylene glycol, but we've incorporated that into our recipes to also assist with the texture in your throat as you're smoking the substance as well. And it allows the flavors to highlight a little bit better too. So
it more or less feels like you're actually smoking tobacco, but you're not.
Yes.
It's kind of like the finishing touch.
And the secret is, you know, you can make the recipe what you will, but it's all about the quality of the ingredients, I would like to say. So we use actually some of the most expensive tea leaves out there. Our flavorings are all very high-end. They come from the culinary industry. We use all USP, natural glycerin, USP grade propylene glycol. We use also, our sugar syrup is completely food grade as well. So all of our ingredients are food grade, and we make sure that we source them from the best sourcing possible. And that way, any sort of recipe is only as good as its ingredients. And we try to always put that sort of quality into our batches every single time. So I hope that if that answers it. So
that is a very in-depth analysis of the Heaven Leaf brand. I like it. The thing is like this. It's like you touched on a lot of different things. Like I find that even Heaven Leaf is very good even when mixed. I had the grape the other day with a little bit of, I think it was a little bit of cane mint that I had left over, and you would think that cane mint being a very powerful flavor, especially if you're mixing it with something, you just think, oh, I'm mixing it with a non-tobacco, it's probably going to overpower it. It didn't. I did about like 15% cane mint, and the rest was grape, and it was very good. The flavor still came out, which was awesome. It was very surprising, especially with like when you're mixing a dark leaf with tea leaves. You know, and how you said about tea leaves, it's funny because there's actually a, chewing tobacco. There's a chewing tobacco company out there that actually does tobacco leaves, and they use like coffee grinds to mimic like chewing tobacco, and they mix that together. So it's definitely interesting to see people use other things and experiment. Your whole concept is almost like NAREK's Breaking Bad. I feel like there should be a TV show about you just traveling around making this stuff in an RV trailer.
He definitely takes every single aspect of his formula very seriously, and it's 5 years of R&D. That's
now is he in the house with like a jumpsuit and like goggles, just like beakers everywhere? Is this how this is happening? That's how that's how I'm envisioning it. It's really cool. Like I want to talk about a little bit about your flavors. My 3 favorite flavors, I will add grape in there, but my top 3 have to be your mint, the maple pancake, which a lot of people talk about, just because it's such a robust flavor. It's different. It's if you type in maple pancake like tobacco, you're not really gonna get any hits, but you know Heaven Leaf will come up on there. because it's like your unique flavor, you know. And I like the cheesecake, the fudge cheesecake is pretty good
Yeah,
too.
cheesecake
Fudge. Now, what are your guys like favorite flavors that you smoke? I know it's hard to pick a baby. You know, it's hard to be like, oh, well, I like this. Everyone else go sit in the corner. But like, what are some flavors that like you liked? I guess because like you have maple pancake and you have cheesecake fudge here. So are those like flavors or things you like and you're like, we need to make this. This needs to be a thing because this is like
Well,
my
actually,
favorite.
the funny thing was, maple pancake flavor was highly influenced by our consumers. That was a flavor that we came out the most recently,
Mm-hmm.
and it was all influenced by the different hookah groups that we have online. And what I asked them was, hey guys, what is the kind of flavor that you would like to see in the industry that hasn't really been done before, but you would love to see it come out?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody kind of voted on maple syrup flavor. And so what I did was, okay, I'm like, maple syrup. I can't really see maple syrup being smoked on its own because it would just be a syrup flavor. But I said, let me get to some experimentation with that. If majority of consumers are asking me to make a maple syrup flavor, what goes well with maple syrup? And the first thing that clicked into my mind was maple pancakes.
Mm-hmm.
And well, you know, what do we do every time we go into IHOP or Denny's? You know,
That's true.
Maple syrup is with you know, pancakes. And so the pancakes flavor that we used was the best complement to the maple syrup flavor. So it gives it that kind of breadiness flavor, complementing with the syrupy sugariness. And after a few batches that we made as an experiment, we sent it off to a couple consumers, and they were all just blown away by it. And it's been going ever since. And consumers obviously gave feedback. You know, if it was too intense or too or not enough, we adjusted from there. The cheesecake fudge and the peppermint was actually one of our. Both were actually our flavors that we first came out with.
Mm-hmm.
We came out with about 30 flavors in the beginning.
Yeah.
I wanted to have a solid 30 flavors, a little bit of everything. So creamy flavors, fruit flavors, tropical flavors. Obviously, you got to have the mints. And I decided to do the spearmint and the peppermint separately because a lot of people, they don't even know when they say mint. Okay, there's two kinds essentially. There's peppermint, there's spearmint. So we made those, and our number one category of flavors that's been selling have been the creamies. So cheesecake fudge, maple pancake, vanilla, you know, those kind of flavors. And a lot of our consumers, a majority of consumers are tobacco shisha smokers, and I myself love tobacco shisha as well. I always mix with Heaven Leaf because I can't just smoke tobacco on its own, because I prefer a little bit of a smoother, less of a nicotine hit.
Yeah.
So
Listen, makes the session last longer.
it does, yeah. So we tend to mix it a lot, but a lot of our consumers, about, I would say 80-90% of them, since they're tobacco shisha smokers, we try to make the flavors in a way where it would be very mixer friendly. And you can mix cheesecake fudge with pretty much anything that you want to give a creamy chocolate taste to.
Yeah.
I mean, peppermint is peppermint. You can mix it with anything out there. And
it's funny that you're talking about peppermint because a lot of people in here is like, peppermint's great. Like, oh, we got Mr. Derek Moses here saying peppermint is life. Caleb says hashtag brain freeze. Tony says mint is life. Like, you have a lot of people in here who smoke like mint type flavors. Caleb says peppermint is way too strong.
Yeah. I warn people to use very little of it because we've had a lot of consumers that have asked us for a super strong peppermint.
Yeah.
So we decided to make it on that way, and we just told them, hey, don't ever go above 10% on our peppermint because you will be completely covering your bowl. You won't taste anything else. So
it's funny because I just took I took some of the peppermint to a local lounge here, and we were smoking it, and I told the lounge owner, I'm like, here, smoke this. Tell me what you think. And he's smoking it. He's looking away. He takes the second puff. He looks at me, and then he takes a third puff. He's like, what the hell is this? He's like, this is really good. And I was like, right? Yeah. And then he's like, hold on, I'll be right back. And then like 15 minutes later, he came down and sat with me. He's like, what is this? You need to fill me in on this. And
That's awesome.
it's interesting to see people's reaction when you tell them it's a non-tobacco flavor, and they're like, "Hold, wait, what?" It's kind of like telling them like, the Earth is flat. For all those people out there who who believe the Earth is flat. We won't get into that, but
Yeah.
Actually, people who believe the Earth is flat, we actually tell them first off that it's round.
yeah.
I like that analogy a little more.
Well, so we so
Sorry,
I had
but we didn't answer your question there.
yeah, I know. It was you did, but I had a couple burning questions. Now you said before that you experimented with dark leaf tobacco. You went into the deep end. A lot of people like their blonde leaf tobaccos, their Virginia tobaccos. They can't handle like the intense I guess not nicotine because it's not like over the top with nicotine, but it has a super different flavor profile and it hits your throat completely different. Have you ever thought about trying to replicate what the dark leaf tobacco does in a non-tobacco fashion? Is that possible?
In a way, we kind of have because, for instance, a lot of our consumers, we've been noticing that the more and more that the dark leafs have been coming into the industry, a lot of the consumers have been wanting more of a little bit more of that kind of throatier hit, a little bit more of that intensity. So, for instance, our products, we don't use any nicotine, but one thing that we were able to use, which is naturally found in our product, is the caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
So our tea leaves at the time, we used to have a specific process where we would actually brew and wash out most of the flavor and the caffeine out of the tea leaves themselves.
Okay.
But we're starting to go a little bit more towards the direction of being unwashed.
Mm-hmm.
So our future batches are actually going to come out with, it's going to be the same flavors, and it's going to be using shredded, unwashed tea leaves. So it's going to have the same flavors and everything, but a little bit more of that caffeine intensity and a little bit more of that black tea astringency that whenever you drink black tea. So
I believe right now, I think Tangiers is the only one on the market really that actually has kind of like a caffeine infused into their brand. I think is it the F line? I might be mistaken on which one it was, but they do have caffeine in it. Yeah, so that's talking about like shredded. Are you talking about you're gonna change the consistency? Because I noticed now that I mean, obviously, if you put Heaven Leaf next to a tobacco, you can see the cut difference. Are you looking into changing the cut of Heaven Leaf to more mimic the style that people are familiar with?
Yes. What we've been using is the natural size of our tea leaves, which is a very large leaf grade that comes straight from Sri Lanka.
Mm-hmm.
And we've actually, we source different tea leaves from different areas, China, Sri Lanka, Southeast Asia. What we've been doing is, our hookah consumers, what we tried to do was we gave them the large tea leaves and asked them, hey, we're giving you the large tea leaves so you could cut it down to your specified packing method.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of people who pack, let's say, in Egyptian bowls, the large leaf is fine. But whenever you're having the dense packers in funnel bowls, they prefer to cut up their tea leaves. And a lot of the consumers, even though it takes about 5 to 10 seconds more, but they want it to have it a little bit easier for them.
They're very finicky with how they do stuff. Yeah. It's almost like a crazy ritual. I've had people like Paul, I know you're on here and I know you're listening to this. I've seen you pack a bowl for a half hour. So I know some people can get a little bit crazy with the hole punctures and how they pack it. He actually packs his tobacco with chopsticks.
Oh.
Wow.
And he was so kind to make a video that will be up on my channel in a week or two. And I thought it was super interesting. But he likes to get everything very properly placed and everything very fine. And he can do that with chopsticks, which is very interesting. So I completely understand where some people are a little bit finicky. But while we're on the topic of that, do you think, because I saw the cut now, I like it. It holds heat very well, which is very surprising. Do you feel that if it's cut up different, that it might hold heat a little bit different? I'm assuming you will do that R&D yourself, and you will test that before it goes out. But was that something that crossed your mind?
Well, the heat retention has to do with the formula itself. The cut more has to do with the way it smokes. So if you're packing larger leaves, so if let's say you're using our original cut, which is the original size of the tea leaves, it tends to be a little bit more springy in the bowl. So what'll happen is you'll have a lot more air pockets, and it'll be more of a medium all the way up to a fluff pack.
Okay.
And so you're going to get heat from the charcoals to the shisha a lot quicker, and it might get hotter a lot quicker too. So it depends on, again, how you pack it. But with the shredded cut, it first off, it makes it a little bit easier to pack in bowls, especially where a majority of the consumers are now transitioning into funnel bowls.
Yes.
And they are able to get less of the heat entering the bottom of the bowl and more of a slower burning rate, even though the formula is exactly the same, but the cut actually helps it to be a little bit more of a smoother burn, if that kind of makes sense, because it's a little bit shredded. So
and more able to blend in with the other tobaccos if you are mixing it that way.
Yes.
But in terms of our formula, it's the glycerin and our sugar syrup that actually encapsulates each tea leaf. So you have the flavoring already in there that we do. And then on top of that, everything else essentially creates more of a shell. And that's how the flavor remains intact, even though it's being burned.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
It's the length and more, as he said, the formula.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good. I'm glad to get that information out there. But I wanted to talk more about, like I saw Heaven Leaf was in the AM Hookah podcast. I think it was yesterday, and AM Hookah podcast was talking about, laws with tobacco being passed now, and how much harder it's going to be for people to get it in their home states. And basically a lot of people order online, but people still like to walk into a store. It's like if you're buying a pair of shoes or a shirt, you still want to be able to go into the store to get your hands on it, to look at everything and compare stuff. Now that's commonly becoming less and less readily available. Here in New York City, hookah lounges aren't allowed to have any tobacco products in their establishment at all, even though they still get around it. Money talks. But when it comes to I guess, like your stance on it, you're like in that gray area. You're basically you're not restricted by a lot of that. So are we gonna be able to see more Heaven Leaf products taking the place of these other tobacco brands that are like going to the wayside?
Well, the thing is, and the vision that I've had for Heaven Leaf is kind of what's becoming the realization of different federal and state agencies passing all these laws. The world is actually going towards non-tobacco, whether we like it or not. I mean, consumers will obviously always smoke tobacco. Tobacco is never going to go away. I mean, it's been around for hundreds of years, and it's going to be around for another couple hundred years, if not maybe 1,000, 2,000 years, unless we destroy the earth one day. But we're still gonna be here, and we're still gonna be smoking tobacco.
The weeds will still be there. The world won't.
Yeah, the world will be destroyed, but there will be a hookah standing somewhere with something burning inside of it.
That's true. But as far as the laws are going in multiple countries, there's a lot of restrictions being placed on tobacco shisha because the tobacco itself has really had a bad connotation because of the cigarette industry. That's it's
definitely been vilified, and you talked about that when you first started smoking. You're like, tobacco, you're like, what is this? I don't know, a little bit on the fence. And when you have a substitute that is basically almost just as good, or it definitely is on par with tobacco products, I will say that. But a lot of people are very standoffish. They don't like, some people love new things, right? They love new things. Some people fucking hate new things. Like, they are like, no, we've had AF and NAKLA for 1 billion years. That's all we need. I don't care what your product has. I don't care if it's made out of stardust. I don't want it near my hookah. And I know a lot of like people who just that make something in their garage, and then they're trying to bring it to people. They automatically get backlash, even if it's totally unjustified. Just someone says, oh, I don't like it. Well, 5 people value that person's opinion, and they jump on the bandwagon. As a newer brand, because you said the company has been around for 5 years, R&D for 3 years, but really mainstream for 2 years. I hope I got all those years right.
Well, the company, it's been officially around for 2 years, but the R&D has been happening for 5 years plus. So in that way, yeah.
So what is some of the backlash or obstacles you had to overcome in order to, like, you know, just get the product into people's hands, because you don't have to change people's minds. It's once they get the product, they make their minds up for themselves. You can tell them all these facts all day long, but if they're too stubborn to even pick up the product, that's on them. But what are some of the hurdles contributed to, like, starting a new company, especially when it comes to non-tobacco, which already has, like, you know, a sour taste in people's minds? Like, what were some of the challenges you had to overcome in the industry?
Well, one of the biggest challenges was that as far as non-tobacco shisha goes, there was always a negative connotation in the industry because uh, probably a lot of the consumers have tried other brands and it just hasn't worked out for them, where they didn't enjoy the taste, it didn't smoke as long, it didn't replicate the same performance as a tobacco shisha. And so when Heaven Leaf came out, you know, people thought that, okay, this is probably one of those other gimmick brands that, you know, it's not going to go far, it's not going to do anything. And so it was, they had in their minds, it was primed that, oh, another non-tobacco brand, okay, it's going to be the same stuff all over again. But I truly believe it has to do with having an open mind. And so whenever consumers actually started to try the product, they started to notice, okay, this is something different. It actually smokes. It actually performs. It actually works. Now, granted, it doesn't have the nicotine or the intensity that tobacco does, but I still truly believe it replicates it as good as possible in comparison to maybe consumers' experiences with other non-tobacco brands.
Yeah.
And so the major challenges that we have had is majority of the hookah industry, as far as the lounge owners and the shop owners, they've been very conservative on their mindset with anything that is a non-tobacco shisha product. So it had to take some convincing, and you know, the product speaks for itself. It's just they had to have a chance to actually give it a try and to make their minds of their own. And so the hardcore tobacco smokers, they tried it. A lot of them said, you know, it's a good product, but it just doesn't work for me. And, you know, it's totally fine. But a lot of people tried it and they said, wow, this is actually something different. I can incorporate it with tobacco. You know, we could mix it with tobacco. And then on the other spectrum, some of our most loyal clients have been, both from a wholesale standpoint and our normal retail clients, they've been smoking tobacco straight because they've been wanting to maybe enjoy a bowl of shisha without any tobacco in it. And this was the only product that actually did it for them. So now they could actually enjoy the social aspect of hookah without having any tobacco put into their bodies. So our product kind of does a lot of things at the same time. And we're very proud of that, you know, a non-shisha, a non-hookah smoker can enjoy this. And at the same time, a hardcore tobacco smoker can appreciate it for its mixability as well. So,
yeah, I think it's very interesting. One thing that I never thought about, I think recently I've been more aware of people's posts and what they've been talking about, and concerning nicotine in shisha. And I never thought that people can't have nicotine because, you know, ultimately nicotine.
Over there, yeah. We're just adjusting the bowl.
No, it's okay. Ultimately, nicotine will do harm to your body, right? So I think someone posted something, I think it was a post maybe like a month or two ago, and he said he went to the doctor, and he came back, and he basically, the doctor told him, you can't have any more nicotine. Your body can't handle it. This is why you're getting sick, or whatever is happening to your body. We did the test, and his post was basically, he's like, what can I do? How can I smoke? And I saw the whole thread. A lot of people mentioned Heaven Leaf. And his first response was like, what's Heaven Leaf? And you know, and I think more and more people that can't handle tobacco but still want to enjoy the same type of smoke are being turned on more and more. So I think it's definitely getting more and more traction. Which it's very interesting though. Like, I never thought about people being like sick or nicotine sensitive, you know, and your product is giving a lot of people the chance to still enjoy that social environment, that atmosphere where they don't want to feel disconnected, you know. So I think that's really cool. We have a question here from Tony.
Sure.
Tony says, have you guys looked at the international market? Lots of countries have very strict regulations, so Heaven Leaf could slide on it. Could slide on it. I think he mentioned that before. But
well, actually, to answer Tony's question, we have been getting a lot of positive feedback and a lot of positive inquiries from different countries that have a lot of tobacco restrictions. For instance, our product has exclusive distribution in Australia and New Zealand, and we have an exclusive distributor there. They are not allowed to smoke any tobacco shisha in their lounges. Obviously, in private homes, they can smoke it, but I believe it's I may be wrong on this one, but from what our distributor told us, it's roughly around $800 to $1,000 of a tax on tobacco per kilogram in Australia. So it's extremely cost prohibitive for them to smoke tobacco.
well,
And
if
so
you
they-
even look at Texas. Texas has what, like a 20% tax or some crazy nonsense on like tobacco products. And I'm like, you know, a lot of companies have distribution hubs, especially like hookah-shisha, you know, in Texas, and they're getting taxed out the ass. So I mean, people should be looking to alternatives, not only to save their business, but also, you know, for like a little bit of a healthier smoke, a little bit less nicotine, you know. Yeah, that's tough, but that's interesting about. Oh, you said Australia, and where else?
Australia and New Zealand. We're right now working on Canada as we speak. We've been getting a lot of positive inquiries from Canada, so we're looking at distribution over there because the Canadian smokers are actually suffering from almost the same rules as Australian smokers, whereby tobacco is either non-existent or it's extremely expensive. And so what we're able to do is at least mimic the tobacco shisha experience, but with our product, it can actually get through customs without much hassle. So, because our products, the ingredients are non-regulated, and we have actually spoken, even in the United States, we've spoken with both federal, state, and local agencies, and our company has been actually registered with them in a way that we are not under the same regulations as tobacco or nicotine products. And at the same time, we're trying to right now work on Europe as well as the Middle East. So they're starting to have a lot of
The Middle East, huh? I think you have an uphill
They're-
battle there. I think they're still
they
smoking
love-
Nakla.
yeah, they love their tobacco, which is completely fine.
And
But
you can't blame it. It's
Yeah.
you know, part of their ancient culture as
Of
well.
course.
Yeah.
Well,
We don't bash anyone that prefers tobacco, but
The sh-
definitely getting
yeah.
in that market.
Yeah.
the
of course.
shisha industry, I may be wrong, but I truly think it actually came from the Middle East. I believe one of the first brands was Nakhla from 1909, if I'm not mistaken. And so the Middle Eastern culture, you know, I'm Armenian myself, and so as far as us being in the Caucasus region and the Middle East, it's become a staple of our culture as well. And so everybody has been used to tobacco shisha. And so with these new laws that are being passed in those countries, the consumers still want to enjoy something, but they can't get their hands on tobacco shisha. And so what we're trying to do is at least meet their demands, meet their needs, and still give them something that they will still enjoy.
No, yeah, it's very interesting because if you see the Russian market, they have several tobaccos that if you were to buy it here, would be ridiculously expensive. And likewise, like these guys can't get Tangiers or like Trifecta over there because it's so expensive. And you know, it's everyone tries to say, it's one market. I'm like, it's two completely different things. Good luck trying to get it past customs. You know, if it's regulated, they're gonna hit you with a crazy tax. On top of it, if you were to go pick it up there, if it's even legal. So I am very happy to see that Heaven Leaf is reaching out to these other markets that are having as much trouble, if not more trouble, than we have here in the United States. Because I think it's only the tip of the iceberg. It's only maybe like 10 years away before people start knocking on these lounges' doors and be like, we want to see your inventory. We want to go back there right now, unannounced. And you're gonna start seeing people close down, so they're either gonna have to adapt, or find some other backdoor way to keep serving this, you know. And
well, actually, one of the things that's been happening, for instance, in Australia, now the Customs Bureau over there has been getting so serious with tobacco importation because the hookah industry has been just getting there in these different countries, and so the customs bureaus are realizing that there's a lot of illegal importation of tobacco products under, you know, different class code or kind of under the table. And so they're seizing entire container loads of different tobacco shisha.
I saw a picture. I don't know how old this picture was, but it was a whole cargo container right? And
Oh,
it was masked as something else, but they opened it up and it was like all AF tobacco, and I was like, this is what we have to do. We have gone back to prohibition times where we need bootleg runners to go from state to state.
Of course.
Yeah,
of
like
course.
this is almost. Are we going to human trafficking where we have to get our tobacco now, guys? I mean, this is ridiculous. This is out of control.
You know, the interesting thing is, like, myself and TORRIE, you know, us as a company, we still love tobacco. We enjoy it. I mean, I smoke tobacco shisha anytime I'm smoking Heaven Leaf as well. I love mixing it as well. So we don't want to see any sort of regulations in the industry. I truly believe that the free market should dictate what be. So we don't believe in any sort of regulations. We want consumers to enjoy what they want. So I'm very I'm very libertarian in a sense, where if a consumer wants to make a choice of smoking tobacco, then they're making the choice for themselves, and we shouldn't be restricting their right to enjoy that sort of freedom. But unfortunately, with these governments that are putting those restrictions on the consumers, at least we are able to give them an alternative that they can still enjoy, because that hobby is not going to go away. So
it's I would not dare to say that hookah has been a niche, and people who say that, kind of from time to time, I'm like, do you know how long this has been around? I'm like, do you know how long people have been smoking? Like, open your textbooks. I bet one of your pictures in there has a Native American with a peace pipe, and I guarantee you it's either tobacco or some other magical herb that has been around way before there were regulations, and it's going to be around.
It's been, it's a couple thousand years. It's kind of crazy.
I mean, hookah's been around since I don't know the exact date, but it's been around for a couple hundred years. It actually originated from Western India and Persia at the time. So the water pipe concept originated from there, and they've been doing it ever since those days. And even before the water pipe concept, tobacco has actually been a commodity cash crop grown in multiple countries. And so before people traded paper currency, they traded tobacco as one of their commodities. And so this is never going to go away. And as much as governments want to restrict it, tobacco is always going to be a great commodity.
And it's funny because as we get more liberal with like marijuana, and it has less and less restrictions, tobacco goes like up and up with the restrictions. So what are we doing, gentlemen? It's a crazy thing. Really quickly, I want to let the people know where they can find your product, because obviously a lot of people order off the website still. You still sell straight from the website. But I have seen I've seen before I knew what Heaven Leaf was, I saw it on Amazon. Is it going to be going back on Amazon for ease of access? Because I know a lot of people buy stuff on there, but I mean, I know you get upcharged on Amazon.
Amazon and eBay, there's a bit of restrictions and stuff where we have to go through, and we want to do everything the right way. So we used to have a distributor who did it on Amazon, but they started to have problems with the Amazon administration, because a lot of these markets actually don't understand that we're not selling necessarily tobacco. It is a smoking product, but it's a non-tobacco. So they still place a lot of restrictions on.
I think it's actually been ruined, because if you just type in shisha, right, on Amazon, you're going to see AF pop up. Yeah. And they advertise it as non-tobacco.
Exactly.
As we know, it's a tobacco product. Yes, when you go home, I'll send you a link, and they say non-tobacco on it. But I'm looking at the packaging, I'm looking at the contents, and I'm like, no, that's a tobacco. That's crazy. So I think what happens is that since people were trying to sell this stuff under the radar, it kind of makes it harder when you try to do it legit, and you have a legit product that is not non-tobacco. So it kind of, some people out there will ruin it for everybody.
Exactly. So.
Your website, Shopify.
Yeah, well, I'll give you guys one example. So we run our website as we sell directly to consumers and to wholesalers as well from our website. We recently had an incident, and our sincere apologies to all of our consumers, but our credit card processing system got shut down about a month ago. Because it's kind of funny. After 2 years of doing great business and everything, Shopify decided to tell us that, hey, we did a routine audit, and our payment processing company, which is by the name of Stripe, They said that they don't allow any sort of products related to smoking or hookah or any sort of anything in that category. And so they literally shut down our processor within 2 days. And we've been having it's horrible. I've complained to their customer service. I've complained all the way to their administration, and they are just so inflexible. They don't want to even hear it. And so for about a month, we've actually been trying to get another third-party processing system incorporated on our website. But the problem is, being in a smoking field, you got to go through hoops and loops in order to convince these merchant providers that, you know, this is not tobacco shisha. It doesn't contain nicotine. We have the proof from the federal and the states where we don't have a regulated environment on our products, but they are still very finicky about it. And we've been actually in the process of obtaining a processor, and hopefully it works out within this week or next week. It's just been an uphill battle. And, you know, again, sincere apologies to all of our consumers out there who have wanted to purchase tobacco and they can't because of the credit card issue. But
we can take PayPal right now, but that's our restriction.
Yeah, we have Amazon Pay and PayPal for now. So if you're looking to do the purchasing, just use PayPal or Amazon Pay. But hopefully soon we could get our credit card processing up and running again. So that's just one more thing that we've had to deal with as well. So it's kind of crazy.
I can see the look on both your guys' faces, and it just looks like just a headache and a hassle to deal with.
Of course. And we've had consumers from all the way. I mean, just the other day we had a consumer who wanted to purchase a huge load of tobacco to import into Brazil, and he wanted to pay with a credit card, and he couldn't because our processor has been shut down. And so, you know, it's unfortunate that some of these platforms, they don't even give you an advance notice, and they're like, you know what, 2 days later you're going to be canceled on this service. So there's a lot of unsuspected surprises that happen in this industry, especially as a manufacturer and retailer.
Yeah.
But you just have to be flexible and adjust with it, and just be open and honest with your consumers what's going on.
That's rough, man. It's a lot of stuff like that. The consumers just don't see. So when something doesn't work, they're like, oh, these guys don't know what they're doing, blah blah blah. They just automatically throw everyone underneath the bus for no reason. And it is good that you are letting people know and making sure they get the right information. Now, we have Hookah Expo Worldwide coming up, and there's going to be a lot of different people there. A lot of buddying going on, a lot of politicking, a lot of, hey, you're my buddy, I got your back, this, that. So, are we going to see any presence from Heavenleaf there? I mean, I know you guys are going to be there, which I'm super excited, you know.
We're excited.
Tori, you want to...
No, we are.
We're going to have a great time. We had a great time last year. Yeah.
It was great. Yeah, and we won't have a booth, mainly because we had such success last year anyway.
Yeah.
All we did, we love this aspect. We love talking to our consumers. We printed our T-shirts, our tank top, and we just walked around, and we had people coming up to us from Australia, because, you know, worldwide, people are there internationally. And we kind of prefer the ability to walk and meet other people, also meet other tobacco brands as well, because we know most people at this point. It's just, I don't like to be restricted. I'd rather be able to kind of, you know, roam around, and again, just like talk about, it's hookah, you know what I mean? So you can have any type of conversation and regarding what brands and leaves, and just not even about our brand itself. We just would rather have that, you know, again, less restriction.
We like to...
Running a booth is a lot of work. You got to bring all the product, which is shipping, and then you got to set up the booth. You're paying for the booth. Then you're paying for people to work at the booth if you need people to do that, pack bowls, do all this other stuff. So it's a lot of work that goes into running a booth. So I do completely understand where you're coming from when it comes to the freedom, because you want to be out there interacting with as many people as possible, seeing where they're coming from, see what ideas they have, what they like, what they don't like, and meeting new people. You know, so I completely agree. Like, so you guys are going to be there. That's going to be awesome. Is there any products there that you're looking forward to checking out, like any booths or any like companies like the Alpaca is going to be there from so I'm going to take like 1,000 pictures. I already told Omar last week that I want to kind of get as close as I can without it biting my face, because I know they are kind of mean creatures from time to time. So
No, his alpaca is super cute. He was very friendly. So
they look cute. They look cute, but they're deadly dangerous. So I got to be very careful.
He's pretty tame. You know, you can take a picture with him, and he actually matched our outfits last year.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool. Because we were doing a black and white contrast, and he was black and white. We're like, hey, buddy.
We're going to be at Hookah Expo Worldwide as well. We had a fantastic time last time when we went, and kudos to Hookah John for starting that up. And now Hookah John is with actually Jake, and they teamed up. So I'm actually very happy and proud of what they're doing. The fact that different brands are able to come out and represent and help to grow the industry as a whole. We personally prefer to actually walk around and meet people. I don't like to necessarily confine myself to a booth.
Yeah.
And we don't like to necessarily be in one place. Our success has always been to interact with everyone. So we like to always just be around all the other booths, check out what they're doing. Everybody pretty much knows us at this point. And, you know, it's amazing meeting even new people. And I think it's part of our success has always been to interact with everyone in the industry and not limit us to just one single area.
Yeah, I think consumers really can tell with everything being so transparent with social media and word of mouth and stuff. People can definitely want to gravitate themselves to a genuine people and people that like, you know, are very, very nice and, you know, forthcoming and not like, you know, doing some shady stuff. So I mean, I love the whole expo. I grew up watching Hookah John's videos, educating me on different products, and then you have Jake Jacobson. For people who don't know him, Hookah Rev, who is basically one of the biggest YouTube reviewers at the time. So he did it for like 9 years. So it's super nice to actually go and meet him in person. So I think the expo is a really awesome event because it brings not only new people who are being introduced into hookah and seeing what the culture is about and seeing how it runs, but also all these people you interact with online. And then you finally get to meet them in person is really cool. You know, I've been seeing when they did the Chicago meetup and finally sitting down with all these people and stuff. It was really cool, really nice atmosphere. And it brought it back to less drama, and it brought it back to what is hookah, which is basically getting together and smoking with people and just hanging out and having a good time and bonding over this experience or this common love that we have for hookah. So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And before we move on, Badia, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Badia
you
or
actually
Badia?
said Badia. Yeah, you actually said his name right. A lot of people get it wrong, but yeah.
Badia was asking, did our website violate the Stripe's terms of service, or did Stripe have a right to revoke the service? Stripe actually, they came out and said that we don't want to support any merchant services for any sort of hookah-related products. We could have been selling bowls or even bases for that matter, and they would have eventually done the same thing. But the issue was that this wasn't an issue with Shopify, which is our e-commerce platform. It was more of an issue with their payment processor, which is Stripe. And so they kind of came out of the blue and just told us, you know what, we're not going to be providing merchant services to you guys anymore. And so that's why we've been trying to get another payment processor started as soon as possible. But it's a long application process, and that's why, you know, it's been over a month now, and we've been trying to get approval from many different processors, but it's taken a little bit longer than usual. It's just their upper management has to approve on the fact that we are in the hookah industry. So it's kind of draconian in a way, but we can't really do much except for just be patient until we get the approval from them.
How about we just drive out to all these CEOs' houses with hookahs? Just leave it on his doorstep and be like, come on, change your policy. I will pack the bowl for you. Let's go. Yeah, we'll even do natural charcoals for him, so he doesn't have to deal with the quick lights like so many people when they first start. Paul also has a question here. What would you like to see with the hookah industry in the future?
What would we like to see with the hookah industry? Well, it's kind of what we've been doing all this time, whereby when our company became started back in 2015, excuse me, I was about to say 2005, 2015.
What year is it?
A lot of
I had to write down the date. Yeah.
So what we've seen is when we came out in 2015, a lot of the tobacco manufacturers thought that You know, are we in the industry to kind of change the game in a way where to get people completely off of tobacco? Are we there competing against them and that stuff? And what ended up happening was we explained to them, you know, we don't see anyone as competition. What we would rather do is work with everybody. You know, we smoke every single brand out there, and we love it for its different aspects. And when we met up with the different shisha manufacturer owners, and that's the same message that we try to convey, that, you know, we're always here to enjoy shisha together. There's no such thing as competition that we believe in. We believe more in collaboration. So, and what I want to see personally, and I'm sure TORRIE agrees, is the hookah industry working together to make the industry better as a whole. So if there's a better recipe we could come out with tobacco, if there's a better recipe we could come out for Heaven Leaf and that stuff, the only way we can truly serve our clients in this global industry is by actually working together and working as one.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just naturally will be threatened regardless. They'll be like, oh, non-tobacco, no, they're not replacing my stuff. It's like, that's not what's happening here, people. Come on, get over your egos. There's enough people here, we can all enjoy a lot of different things. And we have another question here from Mr. Travis Leader, the man with the plan from Hookah University. His question is, are the extracts needed for tobacco different from regular tobacco? If already asked, ignore me. Well, let's just ignore. No, we can talk about it again.
Our flavorings that we get, the manufacturers of our flavorings are not allowed to disclose who their other clients are. So there's that aspect, and they're obviously not allowed to disclose that we are with them to anyone else. So there is non-disclosures in place. But what I can say is that we source our food ingredient from food-based ingredients, in a way, our flavorings from food-based ingredients, and they could be used for other tobacco shishas as well. We don't know, but they are highly concentrated flavorings, and they are made under strict standards to be very highly concentrated and to also perform in a variety of industries. So not necessarily just in hookah or tobacco, but it could be in the culinary industry as well, if you're flavoring desserts, if you're flavoring certain foods. And so we're actually working with a couple of different flavor manufacturers as we speak. And that's actually the evolution of our recipes, because anytime whenever you are, let's say, perfecting a recipe and you're switching from one flavor supplier to another, the entire recipe changes. And we have to always perfect that before we release it back into the market. And our product is always evolving, and you'll see it from, 6 months from now to a year from now. The one thing that we'll always guarantee consumers is that even though our recipe and our texture might change a little bit from time to time, it's only going to get better. So we always try to keep the quality up to the highest standards, and we serve to the highest standard of the consumers. And so we'll only change and evolve as long as it involves improving our product and better serving our clients.
Well, those are all things I like to hear. But Padilla does.
Yeah, I think one of the bigger differences is we don't use preservatives in our product either, and you can definitely taste the actual natural flavoring. So I'm not going to speak for any other tobacco brand, but you can definitely taste the difference. You're not tasting something that's very candy, and it's like the difference between an organic juice, like straight out of, actually making your own orange juice, versus you would find, I'm not going to name a brand right now, but if you drink orange juice and it's more like it's just too sweet and just very inauthentic. Yeah. So you can definitely taste that difference with our product, I believe.
And I definitely understand, because you market you guys as an organic luxury brand for shisha,
naturally based flavors, so nothing that is artificial.
Exactly.
So I think a lot of people want to know why it's a luxury brand, and I think you guys are answering that now.
Our biggest thing is, and we want to put it out there just as a disclosure, we try to never use any artificial ingredients in our recipes at all. Now, certain flavors, it's almost impossible sometimes to do it fully naturally, and that's one thing that we will put it out there. We are a naturally based product. we're not USDA certified organic in that way, or in that sense, but organic in the sense of most of our products are naturally based. They come from food-based ingredients. So some of our flavorings may have a little bit of artificial components to them, but it's only because it's impossible to replicate that flavor with only using 100% natural ingredients in and of itself. But we strive only to use manufacturers whereby it is the highest percentage of natural substances with the least amount of possible artificial anything into our mixes.
Yeah.
And that only happens with our flavorings. Our other ingredients, such as our sugar syrup, our glycerin, our propylene glycol, and our tea leaves, they're all naturally based. They're all food based. But some of the flavorings may contain. Yeah, I know there's some guy.
I was like, is that me? Like. No,
Yeah,
but
so-
Narek, I don't know what you're talking about. I thought you just had like tea leaves and then you just put a pancake with maple syrup and put it in a container, and it just through osmosis and several days of like, you know, hoping and praying that it just became a thing.
It's all the natural
Yeah.
pancake.
Yeah.
It's funny. Our flavor suppliers, for instance, this goes into a little bit of chemistry, but our flavoring suppliers, they actually obtain the ingredients for the flavorings from natural sources. The only sort of potential artificial components that could happen is that they have to maybe reculture the flavors to be a little bit more intense in the laboratory. But otherwise, pretty much 99% of our flavorings are naturally sourced. They just have to be a little bit intensified in order to be used in a shisha mixture.
We had an
Okay.
interesting-
We have another question from Travis. Travis, the man with 1,000 questions. I like it.
I like this.
Yeah. Are there patents on manufacturing a product like tobacco, or is there an open market for tobacco?
Well,
Tobacco.
the thing is,
Yeah, I think you meant tobacco for the second part.
any company or individual can patent anything. There's a lot of rules that go into patenting it, but patents actually have to deal with a specific recipe. You cannot patent using tea leaves inside a shisha. You cannot patent tobacco being used inside a shisha. You cannot patent a general shisha mixture. It's actually not allowed. What you can do though is patent a specific ratio of ingredients and a specific manufacturing process.
Wow.
So there's two types of patents. There's utility patents and design patents. Like design patents will more deal with the look of what a certain hookah looks like. So certain hookahs, they have design patents. A utility patent would be, let's say, a certain shisha mixture in that sense. What we have done is, and just to put it for the record, our recipe is completely original. We've never copied from anyone. We've never even looked at any other patents or anything before we made our recipes. And any sort of recipe, as long as it is completely unique in its ingredients and the ratios used, as well as the manufacturing process, then it is completely unique of any other existing patents in the marketplace too. So if we wanted to, we could patent our own tobacco mixture as well. But what we have chosen to do is actually to keep it as a trade secret. That way only we know the ins and outs of what goes into our products and our recipes. And from there, the consumers get to enjoy the final product.
You're like
So I hope
you're like the
this is-
KFC of the tobacco market. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
so
what's interesting is that if we were to patent it, let's just say now, then the international market, it wouldn't count as an international patent, only through here, because we started already selling internationally before we made our patent. So they can actually look at our patent, our exact formula basis, and copy it. So we don't really want to do that.
So we got a couple fun responses here. First, Tony says, I gotta ask Narek who his barber is. His shit is clean.
I knew this question was going to pop up. I was waiting.
Oh, man. Tony, you missed me when I had my ponytail a few days ago.
I know,
Actually,
he
I just
cut
got a
his
short
hair.
haircut. So yeah, so I
But
like
I think
to.
he means your beard.
I
Your
know.
famous beard.
Actually, my beard is all done by myself. Actually,
His
so
eyebrows too. Notice
yeah.
how he's trying to emphasize the brow.
yeah.
What, you mean that's not natural? I thought that you just wake up in the morning. It's like
Well, he's Armenians.
I do all of the grooming myself actually, and the funny thing is people didn't believe me when I told them I just use a Gillette Mach 3 razor, so a regular 3-blade razor. They're always asking me, how the heck do you get those edges so sharp?
Sponsored by
Yeah.
them.
I'm just saying, we got to get you on here more so I can get a razor sponsorship. You know.
side
Oh, man.
doing everyone's
No.
beards and eyebrows.
I just use a regular 3-blade razor. You just have to get the edges nice and clean. Once you do it a few times, you get used to it. But I'm actually curious how much more accurate I could be if I was to use a single blade, like the old school times. So
I thought he was gonna say he uses like some kind of like long machete and it takes like a couple hours. Like he sharpens it for 2 hours and just goes to town. What we got? We got Travis says pancake. You use organic pancakes from the pancake tree, and then Tony says pancake trees exist, Travis, in Canada.
oh man,
In Canada.
yeah, pancakes grow on trees over there. So we
Maple.
Travis is also asking, what is the shelf life of tobacco once opened up?
Good question.
The shelf life, what we try to do is our packaging is actually what keeps the shelf life as long as possible. So our packaging is actually custom made to
Laughing at these comments.
yeah.
Stop yelling.
Our packaging has been made from what we try to do is we try to make our packaging by using the least amount of disposable plastic as possible, because we really do care about the environment as well. And so we try to not use a ton of plastic, a ton of, caustic chemicals or that stuff. But our packaging, the way we do it is we make sure that it is impregnable from light and oxygen. So we try to make sure that there's no air contact with our products and there's no light penetration. And you could store the products in just room temperature in a dark environment. We've not really done scientific calculations onto the shelf life, but we've had recipes where it's been over 3 years that have not even lost a single dosage of its flavor. So as long as you are keeping it airtight, so once you use the shisha, put it back in its original packaging, and make sure when you put it back in the pack itself that you zip up the top, because otherwise air can always penetrate.
I'm very bad with Ziploc bags. Like, I have a love-hate relationship ever since I've been smoking Fumari, and it just doesn't. Me and Ziploc, I wasn't taught properly, I guess, how to use Ziploc bags when I was younger, and it just transferred over to my adulthood.
Very tightly and take a little clip too.
I need to do something, but I did see you guys now offer, which is new. Previously, the biggest quantity sold was the 500 grams. Now you guys also sell the kilos, which is on your website too.
Yes, we actually sell the kilos are exclusive to our lounge customers. We might open up the market for the retail market, but right now we're selling. Majority of our retail customers, they don't purchase kilos. They purchase the 100 grammers and 250 grams. And then occasionally we will get a 500 gram customer as well. But the kilos are more reserved for our lounge clients because it's a little bit easier to work with. They can open up the tubs and they can pack it and then close up the tubs a lot easier. And so
I think some people just really got excited and they were about to buy some kilo peppermints and stuff because they're like, oh, what kilo? What? That's great.
Yeah, for the retail market, if you guys are looking for it, we offer the 500 grammers for it. It comes in the same type of the packaging. It's a 2-layer style packaging. We recently upgraded our packaging to be a very unique design. You can see a couple of the pictures on Instagram, and it's 2 different layers. It has its overall outside packaging, which it's impenetrable by air and also by light. And then inside of it is a hand-wrapped, actually all handmade, gift wrap, golden wrap of the Heavenly Shisha inside the packaging. So, and the 100 grams, 250, and the 500s are the same style. They just have a different size. That's the only difference.
Paul asks, are ingredients listed for the customers to look up? I think he means on the website.
Yes. On our website, you could check out, whenever you go on the main tab, it says ingredients. You could click on that and you could see the ingredients that we use. And also on the back of the packagings, it specifically lists the ingredients on there as well. So,
but not the flavor company and not the sugar syrup.
Yeah, those are our unique touches. So
now, NAREK, I don't know how to say your last name, but I think you've just been dubbed Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
So,
oh my God,
I don't know if there will ever be a flavor from you guys called Dr. Pepper, but if there is, I think you need to have like the clean cuts and everything, like your face on the cover, like a silhouette or something, and it'd just be called Dr. Pepper. I think that needs to happen as a joke one day.
There's been a couple of people comparing me to Salt Bay or
Oh.
those kind of just.
Well, I mean, you never have to worry about a Halloween costume. You just put your sunglasses on and just carry around some salt. You're good to go.
Oh my god.
I'll be the salt.
Oh my goodness.
So-
Oh man.
So, I mean, we answered a bunch of questions. Your eyebrows are on fleek. I mean, people know now where they can get. Oh, I wanted to also really quick to talk about where they can get it. Is your product on any of like the major websites that besides the Heaven Leaf, or is there talks about possibly? I don't know if you can go into that right now.
Of course we can. Well, we sell mainly from our website, but we're also looking into a couple of exclusive retailers. We want to have a very close relationship with our wholesalers, and wholesalers being both the online retail stores as well as lounges. We maintain a very exclusive relationship with them, so not everybody has our product. And one of our greatest supporters has actually been Zara USA, and Nasser from Zara, as well as Isa. They're updating their website as we speak right now. They're doing a few different cool upgrades on it. So tobacco is actually sold by them as well.
Australia too.
Australia, for any of our Australian clients that are looking to buy tobacco, you cannot buy it from our website because we have exclusive distribution with them, and our affiliate in Australia is known as Shisha Works. So you can get in touch with Danielle from Shisha Works. I believe they have a Facebook page as well. So it's just 2 words, Shisha Works. And then you could see them in Australia as well. And they have a lot of stores over there that you can purchase it from. And
Saved you a lot on shipping.
Yes. We also have Prestige Bubbles. He's doing a few inquiries for his own personal clientele for tobacco as well. I'm not sure if he has it on the website for regular retail sales, but he is also one of the individuals who we've had a great relationship together. And so Zara USA, Prestige Bubbles, I believe on the wholesale side, and Shisha Works in Australia.
What about Canada? Anything in Canada?
Canada, we're actually looking into a couple of different, very large distributors, and possibly a few online shops.
I mean, while we're still allies with Canada for now, I would like to know if they can get anything.
Their customers have been just messaging us back to back to get it in their local stores, and especially in their online website as well. Canada is having some issues with their exchange rate with the US dollar. So when it goes over the border, for some reason, the product is it becomes more expensive because of Canada's regulations. And so this has to do with the exchange rate in and of itself, but we're working on getting it in Canada as well. So.
Okay. Well,
and if there's any if anyone watching this who is a retailer, a wholesaler, if you have any inquiries, just shoot us an email at info@heavenleaf.com, and you can actually, if we work with you, you can purchase our products at wholesale prices directly from our website as well. We have a wholesale system that we've incorporated on heavenleaf.com, and you can purchase directly from our website. That way you don't have to go through any paper invoices, and it's a lot faster, a lot quicker for you as well.
So when for the credit card issue, when do you think you'll have that resolved? Will you be posting like, hey, listen, this is working, to let everyone know that they can readily purchase the products again on the website?
Absolutely, it's going to be huge for us, because this has probably been a very big detriment for us as much as it has for our consumers, because a lot of them, especially in the international markets, they don't always use PayPal. And so we don't want to inconvenience our clients by saying, hey, go create a PayPal account before you can purchase our products.
Yeah.
So hopefully by the end of next week, we will have something set up. Again, it's not dependent on us. We're doing everything in our power. We've sent out our applications and everything of that sort. It just depends on these merchant companies to be able to get back to us in time and actually approve us.
I hear you. I think, unfortunately, you're going to be a victim of Travis's Photoshop skills tomorrow, NAREK.
Oh my God!
I'm sorry for bringing this upon you, but have got his raft. So it's probably going to be
Oh my God.
something with hookah bay or shisha bay. You might have a nice picture waiting for you tomorrow. But if anyone who is watching, feel free to message them if you have any questions. This thing was so they can get out there and interact with you, the customers, and really show you they are here and what they're about. So feel free to message them if you have any questions, or message me if you have any questions, and I can relay it back to them. At this point, I think it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning here on the East Coast. So
Oh, sorry.
no, it's fine. I'm off tomorrow. I'm okay.
Of course. Well, before we leave, we want to actually give a couple of thanks to people who have helped put this on. Obviously, Chris. So thank you for hosting us on your webcast, and also we want to thank where we are today, Lux Hookah Lounge in Chatsworth, California. So one of the best hookah lounges that we have ever experienced in the upper Northridge area, Upper Valley. And they serve crazy, they have a crazy wide selection, great bowls. It's amazing what they do. We want to thank all of our wholesale partners in the industry who have also helped us to become as successful as we are. We wouldn't have been here without your help. We want to thank a lot of the individuals in the industry and a lot of the leaders of these different hookah groups. So major props and major thanks to everyone, including, Sarkis from Hookah Unbiased, Hookah John from his groups, and all the others as well. Travis for Hookah University. Thank you guys for helping us host this as well. And, just to put it out there, you guys are free to message us. You're more than free to message Chris. Chris has been an amazing individual to communicate with as well, and he's been one of our great contact points for Heavenleaf as well, especially on the East Coast of the United States. And
I'm trying.
Yeah, I know. So for any sort of questions you guys may have, whether it's a wholesale inquiry, if you want to get tobacco for your store, for your lounge, or even if you just want to purchase tobacco, feel free to send us a Facebook message on our Heavenleaf's Facebook page, or if on our Instagram, you could shoot us a message from there too, or just email us at info@heavenleaf.com. So
that's awesome. Thank you guys for coming on. Also, I think that's the first time Sarkis has ever been mentioned on the classroom.
Yeah, I know. You got to give credit where it's due. So we want to thank everybody who's made the hookah industry what it is today. So
so I would thank you guys for coming on. Thank you guys for tuning in. I know it's late, but or early or whatever time it is. I know we have a lot of West Coast and East Coast people. Really quick, I had a question. Are you guys going to be doing any events in the near future, either before or after the expo? Because I saw you guys did have that tasting at that lounge, and it looked like it was a very big hit, and everyone was having a really good time there. I think Ron was there.
Yeah. Where you want to go into that, I guess, or what we did recently? So.
We had it out in Temecula, which is an awesome lounge.
Vapor Hookah Lounge.
So
yes.
If you guys are in the Temecula area, or I keep forgetting that county. I almost called it San Diego County. It's definitely not San Diego, so I'm really sorry about that.
So Ron and Neve from Vapor
Shout out to
Hookah
you guys.
Lounge.
That was an awesome event. It was super fun. We are looking into more events. I don't know about before the expo though, because we kind of have a lot to prepare.
We got a lot of stuff planned. I mean, we're so busy with distribution into multiple countries right now, and so we're
and 2 new flavors coming out as well. So we've been perfecting those. One is undisclosed.
Of course, yeah. We're working on a lot of.
I saw the question in Chris's eyes. Like,
we're working on a lot of new flavors coming out. It's just we're so swamped with our inquiries on distribution and a lot of our retail sales as well. It's just been overwhelming in a good way. So the responses that we've had is incredible, and we hope that it will continue as such, and we'll always be there to serve the hookah industry as a whole.
Yeah. Wayne says, where can I get a shirt? A Heavenleaf shirt. This always happens. Yeah. I had Omar on previously, and at the end of the night, it just turned into a shirt war. People wanted shirts. They love shirts. Shirts and hats and aprons. That's the thing.
We're going to be producing a lot more shirts in the coming future. We're trying to see which one of our manufacturers for the shirts we're going to choose.
Are you bringing any to Expo?
We might. Let's see. Hopefully we can get.
I gotta throw you guys underneath the bus right there because people are gonna be asking me for the shirts.
I know. We'll try to see if we could get some produced for our fans out there. We've right now had our shirts actually exclusively reserved for our puff partners and our puff promoters, and obviously
we're just gonna make a shirt with NAREK's face on it and be like on fleek, and it's just gonna be like him on the side, and we'll just wear that to Expo if they don't have it.
Oh my god! No, but we will definitely have shirts for you guys in the coming future. We just gotta get a lot of our stuff done first. So, but we will definitely have it for you.
Yeah, you guys have your work cut out. It seems like everything's going really great, and besides the whole credit card thing, but you know, best to you guys in the future. Hope you guys have a ton of success because I'm really looking forward to more flavors or more like wide distribution of the product because I really believe in the product and I think it's really good, and I think it's a really good alternative, if not one of the best non-tobacco alternatives. So
we just had actually Lux Hookah Lounges. They just told us, they reminded us we're about to have a hookah taste testing actually at Lux Hookah Lounge as well. So we don't know exactly what date it's going to be.
Who is that? Get him on camera. Who is this person? This mystery person. Come over here. Get on the camera. This is.
Guys, come here.
Behind the camera, I can see him.
Too, so.
Him or her staring at you guys, like giving you hand signals. This is your other employee you probably have holding up cue signs.
I can flip the laptop around actually. So we're at Lux Hookah Lounge, you guys. This is Ed.
Wow,
and
these guys. Oh, hey.
There you go. These guys are the geniuses of Lux Hookah Lounge, all right?
Thank you. And my sister, but she's unfortunately not feeling very well, so she's not here today.
Arev is also, she's not here, but shout out to her. So,
all right, nice to meet you guys.
And this would not be possible if it wasn't for their help as well. So if you guys are ever around the Chatsworth area, the Northridge area, you have to come stop by Lux Hookah Lounge.
Thank you.
I will make sure to put them in the tag at the bottom of the YouTube video.
Absolutely.
When it uploads, so.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So, so anyways.
Sorry, I meant more of before the expo. We're not quite sure when the.
We don't have an
exact. I didn't want to
date.
give too much information
when the new flavor. Well, possibly, I would say so.
Okay. Well.
Oh, that.
Wait. You just said new flavor. Hold on. We're not leaving yet.
We're actually.
Is it creamy? Is it fruity? Is it minty?
We give a hint.
Should we give a hint or not? It's up to you guys. So.
Don't tell them what it is.
No, but the whole point is we're not going to tell them what it is. So we're actually working on exclusive flavor for Lux Hookah Lounge. We love our wholesale partners so much that we have the flexibility of producing different custom flavors for them as well. And so we're working on a custom flavor for Lux Hookah Lounge. And it's going to be something that has been asked about for ages, but it hasn't really been found in the marketplace. But I don't know how much I want to say, though.
He is dangling that goddamn carrot in front of everyone.
I'm gonna have Ed give out any secrets if he chooses to.
Okay.
So.
Oh, I like how he redirected it back to Ed. So if Ed slips, you heard it here first.
I've been working with NAREK on this flavor for about 4 months now, and all I'm gonna say is it's more of a breakfast type flavor.
There we go.
And that was influenced by his maple.
All right, you heard it here. It's waffles. No. The first ever non-tobacco bacon flavored shisha. We got it here.
Oh my god.
I can tell I'm putting the pieces together, the wall, the lights, everything, little hints here. I'm just getting it together. Okay.
Well, I want to keep it a secret until the tasting.
All right. That's going to be awesome. We're looking forward to new flavors. That's going to be great. Is that going to be up on the social media or is everyone going to know about this? Like, how is this going to be released?
We want to reveal it during the tasting.
Is there going to be a curtain that you pull back and it's just going to be a mountain of the flavor?
The first time it's going to be revealed is actually going to be here at Lux Hookah Lounge.
Okay.
So,
that's awesome.
And whenever we launch it, we're actually going to be doing it in partnership and also in dedication to Lux Hookah Lounge, since this flavor was also in the ideology behind it was all thanks to these guys right here. So
awesome.
They're the creative aspect behind this flavor. So
that's a big place, man. That's a nice
there
place.
You go. Yeah. So, But on that note, if any of our fans actually have suggestions for flavors, you can always shoot us a message or an email. We take that very seriously. And if you have suggestions and we see that it's more than one person asking for it, if there's a market for it, we will definitely produce it as well.
You know what? That would be pretty interesting to start maybe a competition with a giveaway. And I totally forgot that we were supposed to do a giveaway today, and I totally dropped the ball. So I will make it up to people somehow with some Heaven Leaf.
Well, we still have the comments and everything on the thread, so we could always use them to send them a few things.
I know. I totally messed that up. That is on me. But I think maybe that would be very interesting to maybe to maybe check around and maybe put a poll up and see maybe what these people would like to see, and maybe the winner, you know, wins a apron or a shirt. No, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, we will figure it out. Thank you guys for everyone who tuned in. Thank you guys for joining. NAREK, TORRIE, thank you very much for coming on and spending your time, because I know you guys are very busy. So I appreciate it. Guys, take care. And this is the final episode for the season for the Classroom.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you guys again, and shout out again to Chris for putting this on, and enjoy your hookah. So
this is a lot of fun.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.